a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're so glad to have you with us here on the show, and thank you so much for supporting the program. Had a great call, a couple of great calls this week. People reaching out, wanting to list their homes for sale, supporting our show partners, getting a lot of great feedback. People say they love the local content, the localized experts here in the Tampa Bay market. That's what makes us different with the Consumer Quarterback Show. So thank you so much. Greatly appreciate you. And we do have an all-star lineup for you again today. Blake Ambrester back on the show. Solar Bear is the company. We're going to talk all about the solar industry and what's happening and what to look for in 2024. And we're also going to bring on a principal engineer at Enphase Energy. And now we're getting into the battery backups, kind of our phase 2 conversation with Blake after his introductory segment just a few weeks ago. Also, Mike Murphy Auto Group, our expert contributor for all things in the auto industry. Again, that's what people love about our show, is we're bringing on all the different experts, different categories, and keeping it fresh for you here on the daily on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And by the way, I want to invite you to an event. Save the date. Pull out your smartphone. Save this date in your calendar. We're going to have an event, a gratitude party on March 21st over at Brio Tuscan Grill at the International Plaza Mall. 2223 Northwest Shore Boulevard. And what we're doing is we're bringing in our expert contributors, all of our radio show personalities. A lot of our real estate team will be there. And Brio Tuscan Grill, I tell you, it's an awesome restaurant. Excellent food, a fun environment and atmosphere, friendly staff. We're going to have food provided. The appetizers are going to be provided. And of course, there's a cash bar available. So it's a Consumer Quarterback Show happy hour and our third Thursday of the month event coming up on March 21st, which is a Thursday, 6 o'clock. Save the date. Come on over and meet with us and hang out and fellowship, and we'll have a good old time over there at Brio Tuscan Grill. And by the way, say hello to Chef Oscar Ramirez and Joey, the general manager. Let them know that you're a fan of the show and you heard about them here, and they're going to hook you up with a free appetizer just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, as you know, we always feature our real estate listings. One of our highest goals of our selling clients in our real estate business, and our moral obligation, is to let our sellers know we're going to help them sell faster for more money, maximizing the exposure, which leads to maximum profits in a shorter marketing period and less headaches as well. 18522 Gulf Boulevard. This is on Indian Shores. Now, have you ever wanted to own your own beachfront property? This is it. This is right on the beach. $1 million listing, 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2,000 square feet. You are not even walking across the street. You're on the beach side. So you're literally walking out your door, walking past your heated pool, and then now you're on the sugar sand beaches and dolphin-filled waters of Pinellas County, Tampa Bay, Florida, one of the hottest real estate markets in the entire country. 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2,000 square feet, beachfront condo in Indian Shores. You've got 3 balconies on this property. So if you look out the you can look inland there, and you're going to be seeing the intercoastal waterways and the Tom Stewart Causeway. And if you look to the left, of course, you're looking at the dolphin out there playing and swimming in the Gulf of Mexico. And one of the best things now, two major points with this listing. Number one, $250 a month HOA fee, condo fee. That is one of the lowest fees you will ever see on a real estate property in Tampa Bay, any condo anywhere. And then secondly, major point number 2, you can Airbnb, VRBO, short-term rent this property out. 18522 Gulf Boulevard, Unit F, Indian Shores, one of our hot real estate listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And you can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. Check out PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Yeah, I'm racing my class to those saving our ass overseas.
All right, Blake Ambrester, Solar Bear, welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having me back. Glad to be here.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. So today we wanted to get into a little bit about some of the records that we set last year. I didn't even realize, but you were telling me before show, wow, we set some records, huh?
Yeah, Florida last year, we had the hottest summer in recorded history.
Wow.
You pair that with the highest cost of electricity per kilowatt hour in Florida recorded history.
Wow.
When you put those two things together, we all experienced it, right? We had the highest power bills we've ever had.
Yeah.
If you've lived in Florida your entire life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was crazy. We saw people's bills go from $400 to $700, from $500 to $1,000.
Wow.
And for people that are in Florida, we're a retirement state. They're on a fixed income.
Yeah.
It's hard to swallow that, right? Those are your groceries. Those are
Yeah.
your gas bill. And, let's not get into gas right now, but
yeah, exactly.
It makes it more difficult for people to live and to make ends meet.
It really does, and you combine that with kind of where you were going there with all the other challenges, pharmaceuticals, the grocery bills, et cetera. You look at that, and you look at what's going on with the economy in general. Challenging times for people. So when you think about solar, what are some of the common misnomers that you have in the solar business?
Well, the first is that solar is a scam, right? There's a lot of misinformation out there, and that came from a new industry with very little regulation. You had a bunch of guys go out there thinking they could make $1 million without any effort, without any knowledge, and they hurt some of the constituents and the consumers that they served. Solar done by the right contractor is an incredible benefit. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a long-term smart money plan.
Right.
No matter what you do, you're going to pay the utility company. As long as you live in that home, you're attached to Duke, you're attached to TECO, you're attached to FPL, and nothing can change that unless you pack up your bags and move. So solar allows you to lock in a fixed cost that is significantly lower than your power bill once was for the next 30 years. So 30 years ago, if you could have locked in the cost of fuel at $1 a gallon,
right,
I'm sure a lot of people would have invested and taken that opportunity to make sure that they're not spending more than they need to.
Right.
And every year the cost of power goes up. So not only are you saving money instantly, but you're protected against the rising cost of electricity.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it makes so much sense, and that's why we started this show. We want to be that consumer advocate and spread the good news. And speaking of good news, I was just looking at your website too. It says something about 0% down, 0% interest, no payments for 12 months.
That's correct. Yeah, for those who are credit qualified, we have a great program right now. 0 money down, 0% interest, and no payments for 12 months. We can even stretch that out to 18 months if the customer wants that.
Wow. I mean, that's almost, you hear this term overplayed, but no brainer, right? I mean, you're in a situation where the cost of running your vehicle costs more, your all these other places, your of course, your power on your home, and then you have an opportunity to lock in a 0%. I mean, of course, qualifying rates, of course, all that kind of stuff, but it just makes a lot of sense. And now, when you look at the home itself, right, that's where you got to have certain southern exposure, is it? The southwest exposure? Let's move to that conversation.
For sure. So, sun rises on the east, sets on the west. We're north of the equator, so it's always a little bit south from us.
Yep.
Where you get the most sun hours, hours on your solar panels, is going to be that south-facing array on your home.
Okay.
The east and the west are still going to get great sunlight. We always try to avoid the north side of the home unless it's an absolute necessity, because those panels are going to produce less because they're going to get less sunlight hours than the other, geographies of the house.
Sure. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense when you looking at it that way. We're talking with Blake Ambrester. Solar Bear is the company right here in Tampa Bay. And when we look at solar, it really, I've got 52 panels on my home. We love the fact that we have solar. We're taking advantage of that whenever the payments run out. Now we're, in a sense, having some of our bill in a sense subsidized in a way, and then we still have to pay the connection fees and whatever that overage is going to be.
Right.
And in some cases, though, you have probably some clients that have enough solar producing, they're selling it back to the electric company. How does that work?
Great question. So when we build out our solar systems, we're always trying to get our customers 100% offset, what we call a net zero energy bill. Now, that doesn't mean that every single month they're not going to have a power bill. What it means is that if you look at the 12 months as a whole, you will be paying significantly less energy. There will be months where you overproduce, where you get credits that carry into your summer months where you're still going to get a bill. Those months that you get the credits, they eat up the months where you're still getting a power bill. So the amount that you're paying out is significantly less. If you looked at, 2023, I paid, $2,000 in electricity. If fast forward, I got solar 2024, you're going to end up paying $300-400 in electricity. So $700 saved throughout the year. And as the cost of power rises, the only thing that rises for you is your savings.
Yeah, I love that. Reach out to the show hotline if you'd like more information around solar. You can also go to consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors. Call the hotline and text the word solar if you'd like, 727 263-3707. Just call the hotline, text the word solar if you'd like to 727-263-3707. And then Blake, from that end, when folks get in contact with you, what does that consultation look like?
It's a free consultation. What we do is we come out, we walk the roof, we check out the property, we take your energy bills from the last 12 months, and we build you a CAD-style design to eliminate your power bill. So we're taking your previous energy that you used to determine how big the solar system needs to be. Once that's complete, if you'd like to move forward, we provide a 30-year loan at 3.99% interest. So the costs monthly, let's just say your power bill is $250 a month, your monthly payment for the financing is going to be around $130. So you're saving $120 a month right out of the gate.
Wow. I like that. That's awesome, man. Now, we're gonna take a break here in a minute, but we're gonna come back with Nathan Charles, and he's a manufacturing partnership that you have with Solar Bear, and he's a principal engineer at Enphase Engineering. Talk to me, kind of tease us a little bit about what we're gonna talk about next with him.
Yeah, so Nathan is the principal engineer for Enphase Energy. He's over the entire East Coast of the United States, and his job is to make sure that not only consumers but contractors have the right education around backup batteries. Okay. Right? We're moving into this space now where people want to be protected. You know, there's a lot of craziness going on in the world. You know, you could talk about illegal invaders, you could talk about EMPs, you could talk about all these things, or just hurricanes, right? You know, when Irma came through and crushed us, we were without power for, 2 weeks for some people.
Wow. Yeah.
And in the middle of the summer, it's brutal. It's brutal. For our senior citizens that are living in the state, it's dangerous. It's not just tough. It's dangerous. Deadly. They could literally lose their life. So the backup batteries allow you to have a power source if the grid goes down. You're never going to run out of fuel as if you had a generator and a propane tank at your house that you can't get refilled once it's gone. As long as the sun comes up the next day, which generally happens after a storm, right? Clears out, you get a beautiful day the next day. Your solar's producing energy, feeding those batteries, and powering your home. We see customers buy partial backups where it's not going to cover the entire house. It's covering their internet. It's covering their lights, their refrigeration, so that their food in the fridge and freezer don't go out. Yep. But then we see consumers looking for whole home backup. They've got 3-4 AC systems in their 6,000 square foot home, and we're able to build out a backup battery system that covers all of that. And the reality is that it can go 7 days if there was no sun, right? But if the sun's coming up the next day, you're getting recharge on that battery simultaneously to powering the home. Yeah. So it's you're using the energy, but it's also refilling it, so you're never going to run out. It's as reliable as the sun.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I love that. I love that idea, especially with different things. It could be some kind of an attack. It could just be some kind of a natural disaster. I mean, you never know exactly how it could happen. But the fact that you are having that forthright, you're being forthright in thinking of that and planning for your family. That's one of the things that I'm big on is being planned. Taking that into account, having a plan in place, and similar to I have a satellite phone, a sat phone just in case. We saw last week with AT&T going down. Think about those layers. Think a layer deeper is what I say. I say think a layer deeper. Have that foresight. To have a plan in place, and I love the ideas of battery backups. We're talking with Blake Ambrester, Solar Bear, and then coming up, we're going to bring on manufacturing partner Nathan Charles as well. He's a principal engineer at Enphase Energy. So it's going to be a great conversation about protecting your home and protecting for those unplanned events in a lot of cases, these types of situations. More with Solar Bear coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
I want to give a special thanks to Satellite Phone Store. They just hooked me up with this beautiful satellite phone, and it's a gorgeous phone. It's a great device. It's a safety device as well. Think about it. If you're out on the boat 40, 50 miles out, maybe you're going hunting or you're going hiking in the woods somewhere, you run out of cell phone service, or who knows, maybe a possible terrorist attack. It's not like our politicians aren't entrenched in all this stuff going on overseas, all over the place, all over the world. Could be a terrorist attack. They could attack the power grid. They could attack the cell phones. Who knows what they're going to attack next. Sat123.com/REQB. Sat for satellite, sat123.com/REQB, like real estate quarterback.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, Brandon Rhymes back here in studio. We got Blake Ambrester, Solar Bear, and we're also going to bring in principal engineer at Enphase Energy, Nathan Charles, and talking about the battery backup systems and how you can bring all this together on your beautiful home and your real estate properties. Before we do, a couple of hot listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We got a beautiful property in Dunedin on Bayshore Boulevard in Dunedin, and a hot area. What a beautiful area. People love Dunedin. I'm surprised this one's not pending yet. I thought I saw some offers coming in, but we'll see. 1515 Bayshore Boulevard, unit number 11. This is a one-bedroom, one-bath, 649-square-foot condo close to the heart of downtown Dunedin, complete with updated floors, beautiful updated bathroom, large kitchen, plenty of cabinet space, of course. And I'm looking at the photos here. Gorgeous, gorgeous property. It looks, you have the lighter colors there in the kitchen as well. People love that. 1515 Bayshore Boulevard, unit number 11, Dunedin, Florida. Beautiful property from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And we got another property on River Road. This one is 5930 River Road in Newport Richey. Another waterfront beauty. This is on the Cody River. You've got 80 feet of frontage on the Cody River. Bring your boat, bring your jet skis, all your water toys. 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bath. You have almost 2,000 square feet. 5930 River Road, Newport Richey, Florida. Updated property here. You have formal dining room, chandelier, stainless glass. Too many upgrades to mention here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, but we would urge you to check out our website and implore you to go to platinumcoastalelite.com, where you can see all of our real estate listings at platinumcoastalelite.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, so we got Blake in studio, Blake Ambrester, Solar Bear, and we're going to bring Nathan Charles into the program now, principal engineer at Enphase Energy with the awesome battery backup systems. Nathan, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Great to be here. Appreciate the invite.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing at Enphase and how you're revolutionizing the industry.
Oh, great. Yeah, so we at Enphase, we believe in essentially a clean energy future for all. And we've been very successful with our inverter line, which is really about creating rooftop solar and enabling rooftop solar. And we're expanding that as we see the market change. We see the need for more resilience. We see the changing market conditions in terms of the economics, and we're introducing batteries as well as a number of other technologies that are really about giving homeowners control of their energy.
Yeah, I love that. And can you give us a recent success story, a situation where you helped a homeowner and I know there's some stories out there that are just amazing when it comes to solar and the savings, and then you get into the battery backup systems. I love that. Do you have a story that comes to mind?
Absolutely. So, I think, obviously in Florida we have the hurricanes, but another recent story comes from Maui. So, as you know, there in Maui there were some recent fires. The community was, really devastated there. There was an extended outage, and what we saw was that our battery backup systems were able to provide power to the community, for those that had them, and they were able to essentially, charge their neighbors' phones and things. And anybody that had one of these systems, was able to essentially have continuous power throughout the extended outage there. One of the really great features about our systems is we have a kind of a unique feature with our IQ8 microinverters in that they can start the system up and provide backup just from the sun. So
nice.
What we see is that, in some of these extended outages, you end up having people may not always have the best energy management. They may lose track of things and run out of energy in your battery. But with the IQ8, when the sun comes back, it can do what we call sunlight jumpstart and recover the system completely autonomously.
Wow, that's super cool. Now, we got Blake in studio here, Blake Ambrester, Solar Bear. And if you just joined us, we're talking with Nathan Charles. He's a principal engineer at Enphase Energy. Blake, do you have a question for Nathan, or where should we go there?
Yeah, so Nathan, if you could talk about just the compatibility of the batteries and their ability and length of time. If somebody wants to back up, all of their AC systems and they want to have, say, 5 to 7 days of backup, what would that look like?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So it all depends on kind of, that base load of what you have. So, we think in terms of a basic sizing perspective. If you've sized your system for, your solar energy system for 100% energy offset, then thinking a little bit about that solar to storage ratio, there's kind of a question of like, well, if you size it for 4 hours of storage, back, you can move it a little bit further. That'll give you actually, let me step back. So if you size that battery for, immediately just that initial backup, that's going to be roughly a 2 to 4 hour, amount of autonomy. And if you extend that, and you can add additional energy capacity to extend that, we kind of think about it as start out with maybe 2 to 3 5Ps, which is our IQ battery 5P. That's about 5 kilowatt hours. That'll give you about 15 kilowatt hours of storage, and you can add up to 80 kilowatt hours as you need. And like I said, our sunlight backup feature really mitigates essentially the consequence of undersizing your battery there.
Yeah, I love that. Man, this is, you talk about freedom, you talk about the ability to kind of offset what's going to happen we know that they're doing it. All these different electric companies, they're raising prices, and you have the peace of mind also to have a battery system in your garage or maybe on the side of the home, however that, plays out. And then you have that ability to harness the energy, save that photovoltaic energy from the sun there. We have just about a minute left. So Blake, want to try to summarize everything together for us here?
Yeah, so the way I look at it is a backup battery is somewhat of a luxury, right? It's not a necessity. If you were to look back in your history living here in Florida, how many times have you been without power for more than 24 hours, right? I always tell my customers, listen, if you've never been without power, you got a strong grid here, you really got to think about what you're investing in. Does it make sense for me to invest into a battery today?
Yep.
If you're that person that says, no, I've never lost power, but I absolutely never want to, backup batteries are the way to go. The technology has grown immensely over the last 60 months, and actually the cost of the batteries has drastically come down in the last couple years.
I love it. One
quick feel-good story. We had hundreds of customers installed in the Fort Myers area when the big hurricane hit, causing billions in damage. And we had the 5Ps installed down there, the Enphase 5Ps, and one of the customers was on the island. His power went out. His batteries kicked on. He had left his son there to make sure that the house was good. He had left. Wow. And the son was able to use shop vacs, wet vacs, because the power was able to stay on the house to suck out the water that was coming in underneath the door. So he essentially saved the home's flooring just by putting it in those backup batteries.
727-263-3707. Call the hotline, consumerqb.com. You can also connect with us there. Blake, thanks a lot. And Nathan, thanks a lot. Appreciate you. All right, coming back, we got Mike Murphy in the house, Murphy Auto Group, coming up here on the show. Follow us online. We'd love to connect at Brandon Rhymes 1 at CQB Show, and we'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show.